What if one of the most controversial moments of your career later became a lesson about faith, growth, and redemption? Colorado football coach Deion Sanders recently shocked his players by revisiting a 30-year-old locker room incident when he dumped buckets of water on legendary broadcaster Tim McCarver and claimed God had my back. But why bring this up now? And what was the real message behind it? At a recent team meeting in Boulder, documented by Reach the People Media, Deion Coach Prime, Sanders took his players deep into his past, back to October 1992. At the time, Sanders was playing Major League Baseball for the Atlanta Braves, fresh off winning the National League Championship Series. Emotions were high, celebrations were loud, and then came a moment that would live in sports history. Sanders admitted to his players that he dumped 2 buckets of water on broadcaster Tim McCarver inside the locker room. Sanders called the act wrong, but he explained the emotion behind it. According to Sanders, his mother had told him that McCarver was publicly criticizing him, calling him selfish for playing both baseball and football, splitting time between the Braves and the Atlanta Falcons. And as Sanders put it, "When Mama talked to us like that, we act." Sanders felt McCarver hadn't done his homework. His baseball contract was set to expire earlier that summer, and he had reworked it specifically to help the Braves during their playoff run. Instead of being praised, he felt disrespected. That pain, Sanders said, didn't just hurt him, it hurt his mother. Still, Sanders told his team that God sometimes allows people to enter dark places so they can later understand his power. After the incident, the Braves advanced to the World Series against the Toronto Blue Jays. And here's where Sanders says faith stepped in. He went on to have an incredible series, batting .533, stealing 5 bases, and dominating against star pitcher David Cone, against whom Sanders claimed he hit nearly .600 in his career. To Sanders, that performance was proof. God had my back. Even though the Braves ultimately lost the World Series in 6 games, Sanders said he desperately wanted to win, not just for a championship, but because Tim McCarver would have had to interview him as the World Series MVP. That moment never came. McCarver later confronted Sanders after the water incident and told him, "You're a real man, Deion, I'll say that." McCarver passed away in 2023 at the age of 81, but the story continues to live on, now as a lesson. Sanders shares with his players, for Deion Sanders, this wasn't just a story about revenge or controversy. It was about growth, accountability, and faith. He didn't excuse his actions. He admitted they were wrong, but he used the moment to show his players that even your worst decisions don't have to define your future. Sometimes, as Coach Prime says, God lets you walk into darkness so you can see how powerful the light really is.